1, 2. First of all, I'd like to greet everybody in peace. Thank the California Endowment for inviting me to come speak with y'all, Barbara and Bob and Evangeline. And we're here because health happens with everyday courage. And courage is something that in our neighborhoods we really tend to misinterpret. When you're growing up in the hood, sometimes courage is being a tough guy with the gun, being the bully, being the aggressor. Never coming to realize sometimes it takes more courage not to fight than to fight. When I was growing up, there was a kid in my neighborhood. This guy was, by the time he was 13, he had muscles like a grown man. And he had a really bully attitude about himself. His name was June June. Back then everybody had a name twice. June June. And I got to a confrontation with him in school. And he said, so after school, 3 o'clock, meet me at the park and we're going to do what we're going to do. And I was kind of, scared of him based on his size and strength and everything. But I also had a lot of courage in me, not being the type of kid that would back down. And so I met him at the park. The whole school followed us. And he literally beat the crap out of me, you know what I mean? And it got to the point where he had me down, how somebody gets you down, they put their knees over your arms, and I had to bite him, to get free. And I bit him, And years later, I run into him again in high school. And he had the same personality, very aggressive, very strong guy. He had this little guy with him, the instigator, and he sees me, and the instigator like, remember that guy from back in junior high? He's the guy that bit you. You know what I mean? And so he steps up to me, and by this time I already lived a couple of years back in Brooklyn, and I got what we call knowledge of self. And when you get knowledge of yourself, you get this new pride about being a man. And the first thing he said to me was like, yo, what up, boy? And as soon as he said the word boy, it like triggered something in me. I was like, I ain't no boy, I'm a man. You know what I mean? I think we had the old saying, boy plays on Tarzan, or something like that. And that pushed us to fight again. And so we walked to the school park, and we fought again for hours. But this time, it wasn't him beating the crap out of me. It was more like the fight was more even, and it was going on until the only way victory was going to come was through death. Somebody was going to have to die that day. And I just remember the fight ending with him holding 2 stones in his hand. And some older adults came over from the school and broke it up. Now, me and June June from that point had grown to respect each other because he saw in me a certain type of courage. Not the courage of aggression, but the courage of self-defense. When you see kids nowadays who have to, they leave their homes and they have to make it through some tough neighborhoods. Watts is crazy right now. Oakland is crazy. Brooklyn, Brownsville is crazy. Chicago, crazy. Violence going on. Young guys dying every day, getting shot. And and those who have to go to school or go to work through these communities have to build up an extra courage to do this. But the funny thing about courage is that it soon influences your ego. So now June June later on became my friend and became my student. He would come to my house and start reading books, whether it was on Malcolm X or Marcus Garvey. He would read with me, and he started to get knowledge of himself, but he still had this ego. And around the age of 18, he comes across a kid who he's bullying, and the kid pulls out a gun. And because of this courage, because of this ego, this foolish bravado that we get in our communities, being the toughest guy, he dared the guy. He thought he was invincible, and bong bong, the guy put the bullets up in him, and that was the end of him. So now courage and ego has become his destroyer. So the same way it could be our savior, it could be our destroyer. When I first started greeting y'all, I greet y'all in peace, because peace is really the actual nature of man and the universe. We just choose to go disaccording to our nature. Scientists say that the universe is chaotic. You know, you learn this, through education, that everything is chaos. But yet the earth has never failed to make her trip around the sun. Mercury has never failed to make her trip around the sun. The sun has never failed to be right there in the morning. The moon has never failed to be right there at night. There's no confusion about that. There's no chaos about that. It's at peace. Now, man, we have what is called the free will. So we got the will to be peaceful, to bring war, to have love, hate. These things are free to us. But naturally, we are peaceful. Peace, definition, is the absence of confusion. Now, when confusion enters, peace leaves. And I think that's one of the biggest situations with our children in our communities. They're confused. They've been taught so many things other than themselves. They don't even know themselves. We, a generation before them, have been taught so many things other than ourselves. We don't know ourselves. And when I say that, I'm not saying it in an attacking way. It's just that knowing yourself is knowing each other. But when you think about all the things we're taught about each other, we're taught in America sometimes that, the difference of the blacks or the Latins and the whites, all these different traits we have and all these stereotypes makes us different from one another. But yet we all go to rest at night and we all wake up under the same sun. But we don't have this knowledge of ourselves. And so when a young man in my neighborhood looks at the world, or he looks at TV, he looks at things around him, and he doesn't see himself and can't find himself, he gets caught into a law we call resonance. Now, resonance means things resonate off each other. As I talk louder and louder, it'll bounce off the wall, resonate, vibrations, hit your ear. People also resonate. If we was to be in here starting arguments and debating, it'll turn into an angry mob. If we stay here calm and peaceful, even that man who's yelling will eventually quiet down. So because of resonation, because of how things resonate, that's a strong influence that goes back again on our children. Why are they running around with guns killing each other with no remorse? Why are the victims and the ones who are assaulting them both going through the internal suffering of it? The victim, he dies, but the one who committed the crime, he's living death, sent to jail, living with the ideas of this repeating act in his head. I heard the brother speak earlier and a lady about how even soldiers who are trained and are sanctioned to go and commit violent crimes, still, after doing it for liberty, justice, and the American way, are hit with trauma. Because naturally, it's not meant for us to pit war upon each other. Even though in school, they teach us that, war is part of the nature of man. No, I would argue that war is contrary to our nature. It's our free will to do it, but it's contrary to our nature. In the good book, the Bible, and I know some people are atheists. I bet you every atheist, though, if he got $1, he's going to spend it, and it says, "In God we trust." But anyway. In the good book, the Bible, there's a verse starts in the book of John. It says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh." Let's just take that paragraph for a second.